Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. A little bit of a breaking news edition on this one, though the news dropped a little while ago, depending on when this video gets uploaded. Declan Doyle, a Chicago Bear no more. He has moved on to become the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. What is that going to mean for his future and the continuity of this team moving forward? Also got to talk about Ian Cunningham moving on. That's one where it's a very interesting conversation to have on that. I feel like there was some chicanery on the side of the Atlanta Falcons. But hey, all that more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Today's episode, as always, brought to you by Underdog. Make picks, win money. J Mack, what's good, my guy?
Oh, man. Moving and grooving. It's a Friday. You know, we got a little bit of snow out there, but it's always, a good day here in Chicagoland. So, excited. We got some Bears news. Obviously, we got to talk about it. We knew this was going to happen, right? Every single year, they talk about the roster changing, right? Coaching staff's going to change, right? Yeah. Even the executives, right? The player personnel department's going to change as well. So, when you have a good season, other teams become interested. They want to see what you were doing and what was the recipe for that good season. And they start, hey, we got to get that guy over to help us win. So, we lose Eric Bieniemy to the Chiefs, the running back coach here. That was the running back coach in Chicago. You lose another member of Ben Johnson's first offensive staff. You lose a young, talented, a guy who's moved up the ranks fairly quick, who was really impressive, helping this Bears offense this past year. And you look at what he was able to do. Like, he didn't call the plays, but he did so much to help Ben Johnson and this offense flourish. And Ben talked about it pretty much every time he took the podium, and how pleased and how much he relied on, Coach Doyle and what he was doing. So, yeah, it's tough. It's good to see him get an opportunity. As a coach, you always, you see coaches get opportunities and move up, and he's a young coach, and now he has an opportunity to go to a Baltimore Ravens organization that already has a quarterback, so they didn't have to find that component to his offense. Yeah. You got a quarterback that can do anything you want. So, it'd be interesting to see how he does over there. But, yeah, it puts the Bears another hole. You got to find a running back coach. You got to find a new OC. So there's some work to be done, as there will be this offseason in its entirety. And Ryan Poles, you got to find a new right-hand man who's going to be the next man up.
Listen, there's a lot of pieces that are going to have to be filled here. And I think the one thing, Declan surprised me a little bit. I didn't know if it was going to be that he was going to get this opportunity to actually get the play calling job, right? Which is why he went over to the Baltimore Ravens, so that he can actually get a chance to call plays. Me and you have talked about Declan a ton on this podcast, and how much he truly just feels like and a head coach moving forward, right? Like we've how many times have you said, J Mack, right? Like literally the exact thing that we talk about after we see a game, Declan Doyle brings that up in the press conference and says, these are the problems, right? Like, so you can tell that there's a lot of knowledge there. It's going to be interesting to see. Have you ever had a coach that was your age when you were playing, J Mack? Like Lamar Jackson and Declan Doyle are both 29.
Yeah, actually, my buddy Andrew Hayes Stoker, who was the wide receiver coach for the 49ers, he was our assistant running backs coach. And he was a little bit older than us, maybe like, I want to say 3 years. And it was more of like, he was our coach, but he was like our friend. It still is like a big brother. So it wasn't weird. I thought it was a lot easier because he could relate to us more, just because he was closer to our age. And we had a great running back coach who always, we built a bond with. But yeah, I think, what is he, 20, what is Declan? Is he 28, 29?
Both 29? 29 years old.
I mean, but he's very impressive. And like you said, Pat, like every time he took the podium, he's breaking down the offense in its entirety, breaking down the details of the play in which, in terms of why it worked and why it didn't work, giving us deeper insight, more so than Coach Johnson was giving us, as to why, there were so many slow starts, or why
there was a couple weeks, J Mack, we was like, I don't think he was supposed to say
that. It got to a point to where, and how I feel about Coach Johnson. Love Coach Johnson. Love what he's able to do. Love him as a coach. But I would actually look forward to listening to Declan Doyle's press conference, because I know I was going to get more. You're going to get more into the nitty gritty, the X's and O's, the scheme, and stuff like that. And it's like, man, like you said, Pat, like I always thought, like, did Coach Johnson say, I'm not going to say, you go ahead and say it, Declan, or hey, coach, don't give him too much, man. You know, don't give them all the season. It's just a little salt. Just give them a little salt. You giving them salt, pepper. You give them garlic, pepper. You give them everything.
Hey, listen, maybe that's the confidence that Declan had, because there were weeks where he was in there. He was like, so here's the goal of the play, right? And we're looking for this guy to be out here, but if this coverage happens, we got to make this happen. And I'm like, that was a lot of information. Like, I don't know. Can we run that play again? Can we ever run?
Yeah.
But realistically speaking, right, like, the defense also studies the playbook, so they know right what they're looking at on film as well. So you're not losing too much. But I loved what Declan brought to this team. I wanted him to stay for the stability of it. But I thought you said something when we were talking on the phone earlier that was very real about this, because there's a lot of people that'll look at this and be like, like he probably worked with Declan a ton during the week. But really, a lot of the development, a lot of the improvement we saw from Caleb, of course, you got to attribute it to Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle, but a lot of it goes to what JT Barrett did working with him this season as well.
Yeah, and you look at it from a standpoint of, yes, Caleb, he spent a lot of time with Coach Johnson watching that film, but more so the players, you spend more time with your position coach. Like, I spend more time with our position coach than I did with Lovie Smith, or that I did with, Ron Turner, who was our offensive coordinator back then. And even when Caleb comes off to the sideline, and he goes and sits down on the bench and he grabs that Surface tablet and starts looking at the previous drive. Well, the person who's right next to him, it's JT Barrett next to him. And then it was Case Keenum in front of him, helping go over things that JT may not have seen, or to help answer questions that Caleb may have. It was those two collectively helping Caleb on the sideline and going over the previous drive. But I think in Declan's case, I think he was very instrumental in terms of scheme implementation, right? Game planning, all of that stuff, watching film breakdown for Ben Johnson, because like Ben said, like yes, he was the offensive coordinator, he was calling plays, but his role changed tremendously because in Detroit, he was doing all those things and calling the plays, but now you're a head coach. So you got to monitor all three phases, right? Offense, defense, and special teams. You got to monitor the day things. You got to put together a schedule. I mean, there's so many things that you got to do as a head coach that it takes away from your time to be able to really just focusing in on the game plan, on the offense, on the scheme. So you got to have, Declan Doyle had an offensive coordinator title. He didn't call the plays, but he was responsible for a lot of the game planning, the opponent breakdown, right? The offensive install, right, with the team. Declan was doing those things, which is, that you got to be able to do if you're an OC. And, looking at his track record and how he came up, he's a guy that had to grind to get it, despite him getting it at an early age. You can see why he was highly touted and well respected, because he had a lot of great teachers going back to Iowa. You look at Kirk Ferentz, who's a successful coach there every single year in the Big Ten. Then he goes to the Saints. He's an offensive assistant with Sean Payton. We know what Sean Payton is as an offensive coach, an offensive guru. I mean, if you're a young offensive coach, you got an opportunity to learn under Sean Payton. I mean, that's invaluable. And then, he left an impression on Sean Payton because he goes and he gets to a Denver Broncos job. And who's he bring over as tight end coach? He brings over Declan Doyle. So now you're still learning under Sean Payton on how to do things, how to game plan. You're seeing how, Sean Payton call plays, the rhythm in which he calls plays and stuff like that. And then, hey, you do such a good job, you get a chance to interview with Ben Johnson, and he hires you. You make such a good impression on Ben Johnson. He hires you as the OC to be able to continue doing those things that you were doing with Sean Payton. And now the following year, you do such a great job that bang, you're the OC of the Baltimore Ravens. So shout out to Declan Doyle, man. I'm excited for him. I'm glad to see coaches rise. And age ain't nothing but a number. But if you know the game, you can teach and develop the game. Well, then you have opportunities, and that's what Declan Doyle is getting right now.
Yeah, and I think you saw, whenever anybody talked about Declan, they were like, "Listen, hey, you think he's young until he starts talking."
Yeah.
And then it's nothing but respect from the players to the coach, right? It was a relationship very much of, hey, maybe you're cool, maybe you're friends and stuff like that, but that's my coach, and he can teach me a lot. And when we listen to him, good things happen. So I think he's definitely wise beyond his years. I think it's going to be very good for him. I mean, listen, dog, like at a certain point, and J Mack, maybe you get the benefit of this at the high school level, right? Sometimes a player is just so talented that you get to work with, this stuff just finds a way to work for you.
Yeah, that always. It's always players over plays. right? Because at the end of the day, if you know what you're doing from a coaching standpoint, regardless, you're not going to put together any scheme or plays until you understand what type of players you have. And you're going to make bad calls. And like Ben Johnson said, right? He said, I made a lot of bad calls this year. Coaches, you're always going to make a bad call. But you have the type of players that can transcend that call and make it work, right?
Yeah.
Even look at the play from Caleb to Cole, right? It was a play in which it was 4th and 8, right? Against the Rams in that playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
The divisional round. So I'm going back to that play. You look at that play, you get pressure immediately. Caleb drops back 15 yards and throws the ball 50 yards in the air for a 14-yard touchdown catch, a red zone catch to Cole. But that wasn't Ben Johnson didn't draw it up that way. Caleb wants you to drop back 25 yards and just throw that ball up the Cole in the corner of the
Are
end
you
zone.
telling me he didn't tell the offensive line free release?
You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you got to have and I was looking at the crazy thing is it relates to this, where I was watching Todd Monken, who we know just got what did Todd get? He got the Cleveland Browns job. And I was watching him. He was doing a clinic and he was talking about the reasons why you have to have an athletic quarterback. And it was all of these things, right? Being able to make plays off script, right? Make plays that, do things that's not in the playbook or do things that's not required on this play because of your ability to transcend the play and basically make me look good. And that's what you got to have.
I love how Ben said it, right? He said, sometimes I call plays and Caleb made me right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my favorite part is then you be sitting there dissecting, like, what you see here? You've got motion in the backfield. This throws the defense out. Really, the play didn't work, and Caleb did something great. You know what I mean? Anytime I hear Tony Romo on that, I'm like, I think the play might have broke down on that, Tony. I don't know about that. So, like, I love that he's gotten this opportunity. Now the question is, what will the Bears go to? Do you think they try to hire within, or we heard a very interesting name, and we've heard a name at a couple of different positions that are really good names for running backs coach and, of course, for possible OC. Will Lawing was a name that was favored to the Chicago Bears possibly, and I think he might be a name that makes a heck of a lot of sense for this group that you have here. He's got play calling experience. He's done it at the college level before. Ben is still the one calling plays, so like you said, right, he's doing a lot of the stuff in practice. He's scouting ahead, different things like that. Or do you think that you maybe go with somebody like an Antoine Randall who, I'll be honest with you, if he's going to get head coaching duties at some point, you would probably think there has to be some level of play calling in there a little bit at some point.
Yeah, I think it'll, you talk about Lawning, who I think he was with Ben at North Carolina, right?
He was a wide receiver when Ben was at North Carolina.
Yeah, that's where that relationship started to manifest or began. But the interesting thing is when Ben assembled this staff, he said the first thing he didn't do was hire friends. So we can look at the familiarity with a lot of these candidates or potential candidates and their relationship with Ben. But don't be surprised if it's somebody that we've never heard of. You know what I'm saying? Because of that reason, Ben said he didn't want to, hire guys who he worked with. He said he did that because he wanted guys to hold him accountable, right? To be able to teach him things and not just quote unquote be okay, Ben, yes, coach, because of that friendship relationship, right? And I think that's big. I think that's huge because there is certain instances to where, coaches are going to hire guys who they're familiar with, and it doesn't work out. And it remains to be seen how that friendship, does it last? Is it severed? But I like the approach that Ben Johnson has taken, and obviously it worked.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how he replaces some of these guys. Another name that I saw pop up just on the offensive staff as a whole was why can't I think of Miami's running back coach right
Eric
now?
Studsville.
Is it Studsville?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I thought it was Studsville. I was like,
I know his first name's Eric. That's all I know.
Eric Studsville. I went Studsville. Y'all let me know if I did it wrong.
Hey, if we're wrong in the chat, go ahead and crucify us. But you know what we're talking about. Sorry.
Hey, listen, I thought that was a very good name. He's been here with the Bears before. Yep. He did some good things with was the running back? Raymond Harris.
Yeah.
That was here with the Bears. And so you've seen some of the skins that he has on his wall. Marshawn Lynch worked with him. Tiki Barber worked with him. Ben is looking to not just go out and get names. You know what I mean? Like, he's still looking to go out and get some elite names. And I just think that does so much because that adds to that room. I've said it a bunch of times, right? Like, it feels like Ben is building this Mike Holmgren style where I've got a bunch of different guys that can draw up plays, but also are very good at the specific job that I need them to do. And I love the fact that he's going for guys that have experience. He's going for guys that have youth, and he's getting that mix in the building.
Yeah, and I can recall back when I was coming out, it's sad I can't remember how to pronounce his name, because when I was coming out into the draft, I went on a pre-draft visit to the New York Giants when he was the running back coach. And, he was he was pretty much the point of contact and responsible for me being up there. So, you go there, you meet the coaches, they tour you around, you sit in his meetings and stuff like that. And he was real sharp, and he was well respected then because of this of the success that the Giants was having at that time, that Tiki Barber was having at that time, one of the top backs in the league. So a guy who's been around this game for a long time. So I think if you were to replace an Eric Bieniemy with him, you have a guy that he's been through it, right? He's been in it. He's been in the trenches. He's shown the ability to develop running backs, and I think that's key, right? We always talk about bringing in coaches, and you want to know what their track record is, right? And do they have a track record of development, or who have they developed, or who have they coached that has had success in the league? And he's one of those guys that has a good track record of development and success.
Yeah, I think it's so important that how Ben is structuring this staff and to give him credit for that, because I truly feel like he's going with the veteran experience. He's going with the young guys and giving them opportunities that have a lot of knowledge and are bringing fresh ideas in. And of course, we know Ben is the one that's calling the plays, but without those position coaches, right? Like, DeAndre Swift had a season we've never seen him have in his career.
Yeah.
And that's from working with Eric Bieniemy this year. You don't want to take a step back in that as you come into this season. You don't want to slow down the development of Kyle Monungai. So I love a lot of that. And it's going to be a very different environment here in Chicago, especially with the loss of Ian Cunningham. The good thing is, though, this cracked me up. Somebody in the comments, I was like, who are the Bears going to go after for assistant GM? And they were like, Ben Johnson. Like, what are we talking about? Whoever Ben Johnson wants.
I love it.
Ben Johnson gets. I was like, you know what? Well done. So we got to talk about Ian Cunningham coming up next. I do got to tell you guys all about Underdog here, man. Download the app today. Sign up with the promo code CBP to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code CBP. Underdog is never been easier. Just pick your favorite player, whether they go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. That's right, 5,000 times your cash. So, like I said, download the app today. Sign up with the promo code CBP to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Is promo code CBP. Underdog, make picks, win money. EOQ, the disclaimer. Must be 18 years or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or over in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
I love that my husband's so handy. He leaves more money for the important stuff. Whoa. Gosh darn it, Steve.
Oh. Don't be like Steve. Call Avondale Roofing. DIY is for Pinterest, not your roof.
Welcome back into the Chicago Bears podcast. Pat the Designer, Jason McKie in the building. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you feel like the Ian Cunningham situation with these draft picks is a little dirty on the part of the Atlanta Falcons? And would you have blocked Ian Cunningham? Let us know down in the comments below. Today's episode also brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura and drive off in under 60 minutes, and they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Las Vegas style gaming, just 30 minutes from Soldier Field, exit 6 right off of I-80-94. All right, J Mack. The latest uproar in the city of Chicago is all around Ian Cunningham being here no more. I think that this is a good move on the Bears' part in my mind, and I'll talk about, to me, why I feel this is right. But when you look at the situation that happened, do you feel like a little dirty on Atlanta on how they set up Matt Ryan so that the Bears couldn't get those compensatory picks? And would you have blocked Ian Cunningham from going to Atlanta?
So what is your view on it? You asking me this?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, man, at the end of the day, you look at it, and Ryan Poles didn't block this because Ian is his guy, right? They've gone through the scouting ranks. And I know we had talked earlier in the day, Pat, they did not play at Boston College together. Poles and Cunningham played at the University of Virginia. Obviously, Poles played at Boston College with Matt Ryan. So it's the direct friendship that Matt Ryan and Ryan Poles have. They were even roommates in Boston College as well. Yeah. And, Ryan was one of the biggest advocates of Ian Cunningham when Matt Ryan was looking for a new GM. And I think that's obviously one of the biggest reasons why Ian got the job. But not only that, because, of the job that he's been able to do, being Poles' right-hand man here in Chicago, helping him in collaboration with making draft picks, bringing in free agents, and obviously coaching hires, which led to a Ben Johnson. So, yeah, I get it. He blocks his guy, you get the draft picks potentially, but, at the end of the day, Ryan Poles didn't want to hinder, his guy, a guy who, like I said, he's gone through the ranks of having an opportunity to move up. And yes, Matt Ryan gets the overall say, so it's not like Ian Cunningham has the final say. That's why the draft picks aren't being rewarded, but he still earns that title of general manager and not assistant general manager, even though he pretty much is, because Matt Ryan, the president of the football operations, has the final say on anything football. From my understanding, that's how they set that up.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. I do feel like maybe Atlanta was a little devious in how they went about it. But here's the bottom line for me, and I think this is, this will go a lot longer than a draft pick this year or a draft pick next year. Relationships are the most important thing to have around the NFL. It's how you get deals done. It's how you talk with people. Heck, it's probably how we got Joe Thuney for a 4th round pick. You know what I mean? Yep. Like the kind of players that we have been able to get based on some of the deals and just the relationships that have been a part of the building. I think you're in a better situation by letting Ian, not trying to block him, not worrying about the picks, letting him go to Atlanta, because now you've got that relationship locked down with Atlanta. You think the Bears aren't going to make a couple of trades with Atlanta when Matt Ryan and Ian Cunningham are in the building, 2 of Ryan Poles' closest friends? Like that's the kind of situation to me where you're winning in the long run. Yeah, it would have been great to have a 3rd round pick, and maybe you pick a great player that goes on to be somebody, or you can package those picks and move up. And like, I'm not saying the picks aren't valuable, but I think what's more valuable is having long-term relationships that you can continue to go back to. You saw it work when we made deals with Philly. You've seen it work when we've made deals with Kansas City. Now you'll be able to make deals with Atlanta and be able to see that work a little bit more. Like, that's how you find teams where you go, well, how the heck did team X, Y, or Z get this player for such a low price? Probably because they got a good relationship. Yeah. Probably because they know each other. You know who will never probably trade with again? The Carolina Panthers. We'll probably never get another trade in with the Carolina Panthers.
Well, now here's the only thing. No, I wouldn't. Now here's the thing, right? Now, I don't know. So we're talking about, right, how is Ryan Poles going to fill that void? Well, Jeff King is the senior director of player personnel, highly regarded, came up through the ranks, a former tight end for the Carolina Panthers. So if Ryan Poles maybe, I don't know, speculation, but
could be,
puts that Band-Aid on that situation. Well, hey, Jeff King would be that guy making the call, because Ryan, you can't make that call. They ain't gonna answer. Yeah. Ryan Poles, oh my God, they got PTSD. They got Poles TSD, not PTSD. Poles TSD. So they're gonna, it's Jeff King. We'll answer it. You know what I'm saying? So
I think
if he gets that opportunity, I don't know what Poles is going to do in terms of assistant GM.
I feel like the optics of this are bad, right? And I think it more so looks bad on the NFL, the fact that they're not honoring this, or that this is a loophole in the system, right? Well, Matt Ryan gets final say, so technically Ian Cunningham is an assistant GM, but I think this benefits you so well moving forward. I think this is going to be something that the Bears are going to be able to get players and picks from. Heck, maybe because of the situation, we're sitting here losing our minds over a pick, and Ian Cunningham's like, send me Devin Duvernay. I'll send you a 3rd round pick. Like, I know that's not going to happen. But it's going to have to be a little bit better than that. But like, you'll see that this will work out beneficial for both sides here. And the bottom line is, like, for the people that are like, you should have blocked them, y'all bad friends.
You're telling on yourself. You rob a bank together. Hey, come on out. They got us, man. Come on out, man. Hey. Yeah, he's over there in the bushes, officer. He's in the bushes, officer. Yeah, the bushes, officer. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Jason McKie, they got us. Come out with your hands up.
Hey, Pat, yeah, man, we about to come by your house and pick you up, man. We're going to jail, man. Yeah, we headed over there right now, man. Just come on out.
Hey, bro, there's a legitimate video like that on YouTube, and it's one of the funniest videos ever. Because bro literally was like, "I'm not going to jail by myself, bro. I'm not doing it."
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think that this is going to be. It's going to work out fine in the long run, but bottom line is, right, like, what's the benefit of I'm going to block you and force you to stay here and maybe you don't get a GM job again? We say it like, oh, Ian Cunningham, of course he would have got another GM job. He didn't get one last year, and he was a finalist for that when it came down to the Jaguars and all that weird situation. He was in the running the year before with Arizona. I think he pulled his name out of that one, and he was in the running the year before that with Atlanta, and he didn't get that job.
But
it's not a guarantee that Ian Cunningham gets another job. You got to take these jobs when they come available. It's only 32 of them.
Now, here's the thing, and I know I'm creating a whole new scenario, but with the Vikings GM getting fired, imagine if the Vikings would have wanted Ian for that job. Then Paul, hey, you might, I know I love you, man, but I got to block you. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, that's an interesting wrinkle that I didn't think about. Now that's might drop a video on that later. That's one of those where almost like you're playing chess, not checker. And by the way, that was the only option. You had to fire. I don't know why they took so long to do it, but you had to fire him. Yeah. Like, bro. You traded Sam Darnold away. He's going to the Super Bowl. You traded Daniel Jones away. He had the Colts before he got banged up, heading to the playoffs. Like, there's no way for JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
that's nasty work. You had to fire Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. I think that is a very interesting angle as well, though. That if he doesn't get this Atlanta job,
imagine.
You get your 2 compensatory picks if he goes to Minnesota.
Because just think about it. He's not going to. The bond is strong, right? I mean, they even Poser's first year back in 2022, like they stayed together, like they were roommates here for a while. You know what I'm saying? And I think Courtney she put a good article out, and I was reading it, and I think in the article she was saying how as they were coming up through the scouting ranks, they said, "Hey, whoever gets GM first, we're going to bring the other one on as the assistant GM."
Yeah,
like that's a type of friendship and bond that they had. But I can't see Ian Cunningham with that Vikings GM job opening up and say he, hey, I'm gonna go interview for this. I'm not gonna go interview for this because we're friends. No, like it's an opportunity. Like despite being in the division, like I don't see Ian saying, "Hey, I got this Vikings GM job," like, or I'm not gonna interview for it because of our friendship. So
listen, Ben Johnson left Detroit to come to Chicago.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like there are only 32 of these jobs at each level available. You can't risk not going out for one of them unless it's literally just a dumpster fire and is going to set your career back. We have seen coaches, GMs, players, whatever it is, say, "I'm going to go where the money is, where the first opportunity is, and I'm going to change everything there." And then you're like, well, I'm sorry, it's the Jets. Like, there's nothing you can do to change anything that's happening.
When you think of dumpster fires, you think of the Jets, man. Oh my, that's crazy, right?
We don't think of the Bears anymore. That's so nice, bro. Like, man, as wild as this offseason has been with the people that have been getting poached, I just keep going back to we have a culture that people want in their building.
Yeah.
We ain't said that since, I guess since y'all. Like, since Lovey was in the building.
Yeah,
right? There was no culture
Yeah.
that in Chicago the last 15 years that anybody wanted in the building. We weren't losing. I remember we used to say every time, oh, we're going to get this coach, but we're going to lose him in a year because he's going to be so good at his job. What do we do when Shane Waldron gets head coaching opportunity?
Yeah, I think, and this is a situation where this offseason is so unique because, yeah, we're talking about subtractions from this organization, right? Guys who contributed a lot, in a short amount of time. You look at Cunningham, but Declan Doyle 1 year, Eric Bieniemy 1 year, contributed a ton this year to the success that the Bears have had. But you talk about those subtractions where there's going to be a lot of additions as well. That's going to be, coming up in the near future because the Bears organization has become a destination. And when I say that from a player standpoint, from an executive standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, if you're an assistant coach, right, or you're a player, you want to come here and play, and especially offensive player, I want to come here. First of all, I want to play in Ben Johnson's offense, right? Yeah. That highlights balance. We see in a successful run game. We see an explosive in the passing game, right? Yeah. And I know I have a quarterback that has the ability to make plays and get me the ball if I'm a receiver or a tight end. But if I'm a running back, I want to be in this Ben Johnson run game that's that involves a lot of creativity. And from a defensive standpoint, I want to be involved in a defense that generated the most takeaways in the NFL. And I can be a part or that piece that can limit the amount of yardage that they gave up consistently each game. But it's still a really good defense, and with a lot of pieces, remains to be seen what pieces stay, but they have pieces. And to be able to come to not only that, a great city like Chicago, the fan base. I mean, people saw the energy, right? The emotion, the crowd, the energy, the true home field advantage that the Bears reestablished this year. I'd say that because of their success, it is truly a destination. So it's going to be a lot of free agents out there that are Chicago is going to be an organization which they would want to play for. And it was different because the year before it was like, man, who's the coach? Nah, I ain't going there. Like, nah, I want to go there. I don't want. Who's this? What did they? What was their record? No, what was the record? What happened? Nah, I don't want to play there. I want to have a chance at winning a ring. And in the past,
did he call a grown man crusher? Is that what I heard him do?
And in the past, you if you were a free agent, right, or you were a coach or an executive, you would have looked at Chicago as like they don't have a chance to have a ring. They can't even make the playoffs, let alone they can't even scratch their division, let alone win it. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a totally different offseason in which the Bears will have, a ton of leverage because, like I said before, it's going to be a coveted landing spot for coaches, players, executives, all across the board. So this offseason is going to be awesome. I've got my popcorn ready. I'm buckling up my seatbelt, and I can't wait because you at the end of the day, you have a guy that's leading this thing in Ben Johnson that knows what he's doing. He's proven he proved that in his first year as head coach. And you have a locker room, a culture that you've established that has a belief, that has a resiliency, right? That knows that they can win, right? And they're confident because of the preparation. And you have a head coach that's not going to let those details and that preparation slip. And now you have a front office, right? You have an ownership they showed you they spent money this offseason to get things right. And they're going to spend money this current offseason to get them over that hump. So, Bears fans, we got a lot to look forward to.
And I'll tell you what, boys, I've started my my draft breakdown and started looking at some of the pieces. We can fix this defensive line.
Yeah.
We can fix this defense.
I'm glad you haven't looked at. I haven't looked at none of that stuff, man. But it's going to be
it's
20,000
guys.
I
know. We're gonna start breaking it down probably right after the Super Bowl because that's when draft prep all that. But boy, it's some guys out there.
Yeah.
That can get to the quarterback in this draft, and you got to find a way to get a couple of them. Hey man, listen, I'm excited for what this offseason is going to be. I don't think that that the Ian Cunningham situation is a bad situation for the Bears. I think it's going to be one going to be very beneficial for the Bears. I don't think that the Declan Doyle situation is going to be poor. I think it speaks to a job well done. And unfortunately, this is going to be every year. We're going to talk about, well, that's the hope. We're going to talk about coaches leaving and coaches being pulled from and coaches that the league looks at and goes, we got to have that guy on our team. So I love the fact that we're in this situation, and hopefully this continues a lot moving forward. But hey, man, for Jason McKie, it is your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. For J Mack, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe in the Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.